morning. Happy Friday. Got another video for you. Today we're going to talk about the importance of compound interest. I think every young person should know this. And if you understand it and see how it actually works, it should be a pretty quick calculation to say, hey, I should save my money. Now, one of my other videos I talked about, saving money, living on like half of what you make and stuff like that. I still think that is true, regardless of how much money you should have, because if you make a lot of money, you should, basic needs are met at a certain dollar point, right? You can have nicer basic needs, like a car to drive. You can go from a crappy car to a really nice car. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you have the money to actually pay for it. But compound interest is something I wish I would have learned about when I was 14 or 15. I didn't understand it completely. I'd heard about it, but it was always like, whatever. Compound interest, when you save something and the more over time, right, the more and more interest, it gets bigger and bigger, right? It compounds. So you start with $1, and after a year it goes to $2, and it's like, okay, but after 30 years it's like $1 million or something if it doubles every year, something crazy like that. So it's the same with that penny thing. It's like somebody offered you $1 million or $1 million for just 30 days, or give you a penny and then double it every day for 30 days or something like that. I forget how that analogy or that like little thing works, but taking the penny and doubling it every 30 days, you end up with like way more money than whatever they're offering you or whatever it is. So that's cool. But that's what compound interest is. So imagine this. Imagine you're 15 years old, 16 years old, however you are, to get a job. I started working when I was 13. Not legally, but FYI. If you start working when you're 15 or 16, and you save half of the money, right? You just invested it each month, or 2/3 of it, right? If you think about it, you're 16. What are you paying for? Most of the time, parents pay for car insurance, cell phone bill, gas a lot of times, those sort of things. So I did a little bit of math yesterday. I thought this was interesting. 15, 16 years old, right? You get a job, you start working. Now jobs, like a kid can go get a job for like $15 an hour. Like, there's kids in my neighborhood. We have a theme park in my town. I know, crazy. But I think the kids start off at like $15 or $16. The same place I worked when I was their age, making $7.25 an hour, which was awesome, was $2 above minimum wage at that point. So anyway, they're absolutely like crushing it. So if you take $15 an hour, right, and you work, say on average, right, remember you have the whole summer if you're the kid, 20 hours a week or 25 hours a week, you make like, I think you make like 25 or 26 grand a year pre-tax. So, take out a little bit of tax or something like that. And imagine that a kid's gonna have, I think it's like, minus taxes, like $1,600 a month. Don't you think a kid can live on $1,600, live on 6, invest $1,000 each month? Now, I'm sure kids are going to want iPhones and AirPods and all that sort of stuff. That's great. That's what Christmas and birthdays are for. But you also have enough money, $600. Like, that's a lot of money for a high school kid that doesn't have anything really to spend money on other than things that they want. So, if you take that $1,000, invest $12,000 from like age 16 to age 32, right? So 16-year difference. At like a 10% interest rate, market, whatever, as long as it's completely invested in index funds or mutual funds or something like that. I think you'd be like right at $1 million if you did $1,000 like the entire time. Not crazy, not impossible to do. So yeah, you could be a millionaire super easy if you just start as soon as possible. You have to start as soon as possible. And then by the time you're my age, right, you're like, oh, I wish I would have been doing that. Or if you did do it, like my college roommate did this, by the way. He's about to wrap up his Air Force career, and he already has, I think 1.6 in the bank just from doing this. Literally the exact thing that I'm telling you. And he's 30, he's a year younger than me. He's 34. He'll be 35 next year. So imagine that, like where you're 35, you got $1.6 million in the bank. Plus, you know, he went to medical school too, by the way. And he went to the Air Force to pay for that. His parents paid for undergrad. He went to the Air Force to pay for his doctorate. And he's an assistant. He's like an assistant anesthesiologist or something like that. He's not the full-blown doctor, but he had to go to like medical school for like 3 years or something to do it. I don't know what it is. But anyway, he's been in the Air Force ever since he got out of there to pay for his school, and they pay him like $80,000 a year. Plus, they give him housing allowance. They give him what's it called? They feed him if he wants to. He can go eat on base, all that other stuff. He's been deployed one time to Africa to help do something medical, right? Not in like a dangerous conflict area. So in his 8 or 10 years of service, 10 years of service, he was deployed once for 9 months to Africa, and that was it. His grad school or doctorate program was paid for. He was able to save $1,000 a month through school, even in college, from high school to college to working. And now he's got like $1.6 million in the bank. He's got, when he retires, I think he'll get like a little bit of a government benefit or whatnot like that. So anyway, the power of compound interest is crazy. And the guy's only 30, so imagine if he works another 20 years. Okay, he'll be 55, which is, some say it's the prime of their life, but it's really not, right? But that money's gonna double again. So he'll have like $3 or $4 million when he's 55, just from, and that's even if he doesn't touch it again. He doesn't have to put any more money in. And now, if you live on $3 to $4 million, you have that as a nest egg, and you pull off 3%, 4% of it each year, you're living fairly well. I think you'd be close to $200,000 if you're taking 3 or 4% income, then minus taxes. So he can literally do nothing, and he can really stop in like 10 years and be fine. Anyway, that's the advice for today. Compound interest. Start young and keep doing it. Just keep doing it. You'll thank me in 20 years, I promise.